So that brings us kind of to the next point. Is an 8 kilowatt inverter, which is a very popular battery inverter size, enough to power a whole house? The answer is no. It's not enough. A standard central air conditioning unit, you might think of being energy efficient heat pump, and you might look at your consumption data and see that your unit is only drawing 3 kilowatts of power. But if it has a breaker, like a 50 amp breaker that's rated for 10 kilowatts of power draw, and you only see that it gets 3 kilowatts on your consumption meter, there might be seasonal loads such as the defrost mode coming on that surges that air conditioner up to 10 kilowatts. And so if it's on a 50 amp breaker, at some point it's going to be drawing 40 amps. And if the battery inverter is only rated for 30 amps, it can't do it. An 8 kilowatt inverter is about 40 amps. So, it might be enough to power one air conditioner unit, but add any other load to that circuit, it'll turn off at some point, unless you start getting into load management. So, there's no such thing as a free lunch. If the electrician put the air conditioner on a 50 amp breaker, but you see that it's only pulling 10 amps, there's probably still a reason that it's on that 50 amp breaker. The breaker sizes for the heat pumps and the air conditioners, even if during normal operation they're very efficient, if they require those larger breaker sizes, then at some point in time there's a very energy inefficient function within that unit that'll run. So many homes can get away with 2 8 kilowatt inverters, and we do have an international audience, and I have to tell you, in the United States we have very energy hungry homes. So many homes overseas can get away with half of these requirements rather than full. But true critical load functions of a home are not air conditioning and not necessarily hot water. People want those functions for sure. It'll require a larger battery inverter and a larger battery. So for most large homes in the United States, you're going to want more than 8 kilowatts of battery inverter. So why not use 2? And that way the critical loads we just talked about, the bedroom, the entryway, your kitchen fridge, the internet, things you can't lose during a power outage, enough to run a little bit of medical equipment, get in and out of the house, and prevent your food from spoiling, your communication system. All of that can run on an 8 kilowatt inverter. Adding a second 8 kilowatt inverter won't necessarily take both your hot water tank and your air conditioning unit. Now you can say, well, they don't need to run at the same time. Well, you have to program them not to run at the same time. So that's kind of a different subject for a different day. So for a typical, size of an American solar array owning household, if you really want whole house backup, you're looking at maybe even 3 8 kilowatt battery inverters. There's one on the market that when it's grid tied, it can do 12 kilowatts of power instead of 8. So that's really good because you can squeeze almost 150 amps onto it, and then just use less during the real emergencies. But you just have to remember, every time you increase your battery inverter size, you're also going to increase the minimum size of the battery bank. So you can use that 2-hour principle as a rule of thumb, or you can look at our warranty paperwork for compatibility, or you can just give us a call.